Hello everybody, this is Pastor Green. We're doing another Bible study, 2 Samuel chapter 15. If you'd like me to come speak at your church, you can send me an email. If you have any questions, you can email me or you can just comment below. 2 Samuel 15 verse 1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared his chariots and horses, 50 men to run before him. And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so that when a man had a controversy, he came to the king for judgment. And then Absalom called unto him and said, Of what city art thou? And he said, Thy servant is from the tribes of Israel. And Absalom said unto him, See, thy matters are good and right, but there is no man to speak of the king to hear thee. Absalom said moreover, O that I were make judge of the land, that every man which had a suit or cause may come to me, and I would do him justice. And it was so that when a man came nigh to him to do his oblations, he put forth his hand, he took him, and kissed him. And in that matter did Absalom to all the Israel came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. So Absalom said, there's got to be some type of way to judge these matters. We don't really have anybody here to do that. So I'm going to try to do the best I can to treat people and help them with their matters. And it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said to the king, I pray thee, let me go and pray my vow, which I have vowed to the Lord in Hebron. Now the question says 40 years or 4 years for Absalom. So if you read the King James, it says 40 years. And if you read like the NIV, it says 4 years. So we're going to look at that real quick. So if you look at the NIV, it says at the end of 4 years, Absalom said to the king, let me go to Hebron and fulfill a vow I made to the Lord. If you look at the ESV, this is at the end of 4 years. Absalom said to the king, please let me go and pray my vow, which I have vowed to the Lord in Hebron. So, a lot of people have been kind of talking about this as a contradiction, but I don't really think that it is. I just think it's a different way to look at it. So we're going to go through it real quick. So this says 2 Samuel 15:7, after 40 or 4 years, Hebrew text is corrupted. So look at this way. Here, Hebrew text read 40 years. The versions agree with the King James, read it in 40 years, the Cloverdale, the Great Bible, Matthew's Bible, Bishop's Bible, Geneva Bible. You can see all the lists right there. A bunch of Bibles agree with the 40 years. And then if you look at the foreign language translations, they follow the Greek text of 40 years, and all these different translations say that as well. And there are three possible ways I know to explain the number after 40 years. One possible is a number referring to 40 years after the father David was originally anointed king, before he actually took the throne. So 40 years after David took the throne to this point in time. A second possibility is 40 years refers to the age of Absalom himself. Maybe Absalom was 40 years old when this happened. A third possibility, and the one I believe is the correct one, is after 40 years, refers to back to the time when his father David invaded the Geshurites and slaughtered the men, women, and children of that place. Absalom's mother was a daughter of the king of the Geshurites. And it could be that Absalom was taking revenge upon David on behalf of his mother. In this context, and it came to pass after 40 years, that Absalom said to the king, I pray thee, let me go pay my vow. The very next verse, Absalom mentions his vow that is taken while he's abode in Geshur in Syria. You can see Geshur right here. So, David married Micah, the daughter of Tamali, the king of Geshur, who became the mother of Absalom and Tamar. To Tamar, Absalom fled safety for the murder of Ammon, and thence Joab brought him back to Jerusalem. So, when this person basically did bad things to his sister, he had to run away. So, it's possible that this is also here as well. The fact that he specifically mentions the town of Geshur in Syria, and his own mother was a daughter of Tamar, king of Geshur, should cause us to look back on history to what happened years before, perhaps 40 years before, long before Absalom rebelled against his father. So maybe Absalom's revenge was on behalf of his mother for David's slaughter of the people of Geshur. It may be well motivating factor of Absalom's rebellion some 40 years later. If you look here in 2 Samuel 3, 1-3, it says it was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David. But David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker. And then David's sons were born in Hebron, and his firstborn was Ammon, of Adonah and Jezreelite, and his second Chilebi, of Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite, and the third Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Tamar, king of Geshur. You can see here Absalom, and there's the king of Geshur. It says here, 2 Samuel 15:7, and it came to pass after 40 years that Absalom said to the king, I pray thee, let me go pay my vow, which I have vowed to the Lord in Hebron. So this one here talks about 40 years of anointing. It says, having these things in mind, that 40 is a significant number of completeness, and that anointing is linked to authority after 40 years. In 2 Samuel 15:7 appears to mean after 40 years has passed, as David was anointed to receive kingly authority. At least 40 years prior, God chose David to be king and caused him to be anointed to be king. It says here in 2 Samuel 5:4 that David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 40 years. 1 Samuel 26 says, if thy father had all missed them, and say, David earnestly asked leave of me that I might run to Bethlehem the city. There is a yearly sacrifice for all the family. So there's three possible solutions. Absalom could have been 40 years old when he deceived David, or the deception could have been 40 years after David received Saul in 1 Samuel 26, or it could be both. 2 Samuel 15:8, for thy servant vowed a vow which I abode in Geshur in Syria, saying, if the Lord shall bring me again to indeed Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord. See right here, it says, why I abode in Geshur. And the king said unto him, go in peace. So he arose and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent spies throughout the tribes of Israel, saying, as soon as he hears the sounds of the trumpet, then he shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron. And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem, and they were called. They went to their simplicity, and took anything. But Absalom sent for Ahithophel the Gittonite, David's counselor from the city, even from Gela, while he offered sacrifices. And a conspiracy was strong with the people, increased continually with Absalom. And there came a messenger to David, saying, the hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom. And David said unto him, all of his servants that are with him in Jerusalem, arise and let us flee, for we shall not else escape from Absalom. Make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly, and bring evil upon us, and smite the city with the edge of the sword. And the king's servants said unto the king, behold, thy servants are ready to do whatsoever the Lord the king shall appoint. And the king went forth with all his household after him, and the king left 10 women which were concubines to keep the house. And the king went forth and all the people after him, and tarried in a place that was far off. And the servants passed on besides him, and the Shitterites and all the Veliites and all the Gittites, 600 men which came after him from Gath, passed before the king. So King David got scared of Absalom and said, we need to get out of here, we need to leave, because he might come here and try to attack us. Then said the king to Attai the Gittite, wherefore thou go with us, return to thy place, and abide with the king, for thou art a stranger and also an exile. Whereas thou shalt come by yesterday, thou shalt this day go up and down with us, seeing we go whither I may, return thou to take thy back the brethren, mercy and thy truth be with thee. And Attai answered the king and said, the Lord liveth, as the Lord the king liveth, surely in what place my lord the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also thy servant be. And David said unto Attai, go and pass over. And Attai the Gittites passed over, with all his men and all the little ones that were with him. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. And the king also himself passed over the brook of Kidron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness. And Zadok also, and the Levites were with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God, which they sat down the ark of God. And Abiathar went up, and with the people went passing out to the city. And the king said to Zadok, carry back the ark of God to the city. If I shall find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he will bring me again, and show me both it and the habitation. But it does say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here I am. Let him do to me as seemeth good unto him. And the king also to Zadok the priest, art thou now a seer? Return to the city in peace, and your 2 sons, you Amaz the son, and Jonathan thy son of Abiathar. See, I will tarry in the place of wilderness until I come word from you to certify me. And Zadok therefore and Athar carried the ark of God again to Jerusalem, and they tarried there. And David went up to the ascent of Mount of Olivet, and wept there, and went up, and his head covered, and he went barefoot. And all the people that were with him covered every man to his head, and they went up weeping as they went up. And one told David, saying, Ahithophel is among the conspirators of Absalom. And David said, O Lord, I pray thee, turn thy counsel of Ahithophel to foolishness. And it came to pass that when David was come to the top of the mount, where he worshipped God, behold, Honesh the Archite came to meet him with a coat rent, and earth upon his head. Unto whom David said, If thou passest with me, thou shalt be a burden unto me. If thou return to the city, and say to Absalom, I will be thy servant, O king, as I have been thy father's servant hereunto, so I will know be thy servant. Thou mayest know to defeat the counsel of Ahithophel. So David's basically like, don't know what to do. He's scared of Absalom. He's running away. He's running all these different people, and he's saying, just go back to town. He basically wants to be alone. I don't know if he's worried about collateral damage or what, but he doesn't really want people to be around him. And as not there, those Zadok and Athar the priest, therefore it should be that when the things so if thou should hear out the king's house, thou shalt tell to Zadok and Athar the priests. Behold, they have with them there their 2 sons, Amai Zadok's son, and Jonathan Athar's son, and on him thou shalt send to me everything that thou can hear. And Hushai, David's friend, came to the city, and Absalom came to Jerusalem. Well, guys, that's the video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, you can comment below, or you can send me an email. If you'd like me to come speak at your church, you can send me an email as well. I'm going to put a couple links on the screen. The bottom right is going to be the 2 Samuel Bible study. The top left is going to be the 1 Samuel Bible study. And the bottom left is going to be a video YouTube thinks you're going to like. If you haven't done so, please like, share, subscribe, click the bell, share it on social media, let all your friends know about it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have yourself a great day.